Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 6th of February 2025. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the fact that Donald Trump hasn't spoken about tariffs and is talking about taking an interest in the Middle East and Gaza was enough to push the local share market higher. Weird as that sounds, just the fact that he was focused on non-tariff issues helped the bourse. In fact, it finished up more than 1% to 8,520 points. That's only about 12 points off its all-time high. Interest rate sensitive stocks did very well. The consumer discretionary sector did well. Wesfarmers, for example, was up 3%. It was the best of the large caps. The banks were also higher. Commonwealth Bank, National Australia Bank, Westpac, ANZ, they were all up between 2% and 2.5%. Gave a shout out to Telstra earlier in the week for being positive. Well, of the very large caps, it was the only one negative today. There you go. Story number 2, Rio Tinto is looking at green energy from its massive aluminium smelter in Queensland, increasingly confident that batteries can provide a solution to intermittency issues around renewables. It might seem like an inconsequential story to many, but it's not. Aluminium smelters use massive amounts of energy. In fact, they're one of the most energy-intensive industrial processes around the place. Smelters run 24 hours a day. Now, renewables struggle to provide consistent energy for smelters. Rio is now saying that the fast-falling costs of batteries and improved ability to store energy means that maybe smelters will be able to use green energy. They're talking about firming power. It's when solar and wind is at low ebbs, be able to get those batteries to kick in. If it can do it at smelters, it probably can do it at a bunch of other places. Now, this is the first time Rio has spoken about renewables being the 100% power source for the aluminium smelters, so it is significant. Story number 3, online property group REA has kicked off earnings season, announcing a 26% jump in profit, triggering a 3% rise in its share price. REA is controlled by News Corporation. It's the largest property listings platform in the country. Its share price is up 13% in just 3 weeks, 35% in the past 5 months after it walked away from a bid for a UK property group. Now, the strong 6 months to the end of December was on the back of plenty of listings and the ability to charge good money. Sales volumes across the sector are higher, and part of that is because buyers are benefiting from a moderation in price growth. So companies like REA and Domain only care that there are ads. They don't care whether the market's going up or down. Its long-term boss, Owen Wilson, that's REA's long-term boss, Owen Wilson, been there for 6 years. He today said that he'll step down. Now, the jump in REA's revenue and profit helped News Corp's overall result as well. The media conglomerate reported an increase in revenue and earnings. Its share price jumped 5%, best of the top 200 today. Now, REA is part of News Corp, but lots of other things, Dow Jones, Wall Street Journal, Times of London, The Australian. It also owns HarperCollins and Foxtel, which it's selling in a $3.4 billion deal. Story number 4, last month was the hottest January on record, surprising scientists who expected the cooling La Nina weather cycle in the tropical Pacific to slow almost 2 years of record high temperatures. January ranked as the 3rd hottest month globally on record with a surface air temperature of 13.23 degrees Celsius, which is 1.75 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average, according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service, the EU's Earth Observation Agency. The warming is set to fuel concerns that climate change is accelerating at a time when countries like the US are pulling back on commitments to reduce emissions. Bill Maguire, Emeritus Professor of Geophysical and Climate Hazards at UCL, said the January data was both astonishing and, frankly, terrifying. He went on to say, on the basis of the Valencia floods and the apocalyptic Los Angeles wildfires, I don't think there can be any doubt that dangerous or pervasive climate breakdown has arrived. And story number 5, global consulting firm McKinsey is considering withdrawing from China, worried that doing business there isn't worth the risk, given the tense relationship between Washington and Beijing. Some senior partners have been voicing concerns since late last year, even before Donald Trump was re-elected. According to Bloomberg, the lucrative North American business can more than offset a China retreat, or at least some partners believe that. Currently, McKinsey has offices in 130 cities in 65 countries. It has a stated goal to expand, not to shrink. A record number of US companies in China, about 30%, are actually thinking of moving some operations out of the country or are already doing so, according to a recent survey published by the American Chamber of Commerce in China. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 6th of February, 2025. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.